There were 27 head coaching changes this last offseason. Only 5 of them took place at Power 4 programs. And today, we're only ranking 4 of them. So which of these head coaching hires in the Power 4 was the best? Which coach got left out? And which coach could end up having the best season by the time 2025 is over? That's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. So glad you could join us for some continuous college football content. The countdown continuing to tick down, one day closer each and every day to the start of the 2025 season. And today, taking a look at some new head coaches with some high expectations heading in to 2025. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, home to our newsletters, home to countless other non-stop exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else that we want you to take advantage of so you can become a member of our GE Nation and get all that football content during this offseason. So go check it out, become a member of our GE Nation, and join in on the fun because, like we said, while the season may be officially over, it never ends here at the Gridiron Expert. So, again, only 5 coaching changes happened at Power 4 programs. We're only going to rank 4 of those 5 hires right now, so someone's getting left out. And we'll work our way backwards to kind of leave you in suspense a little bit. Coming in at number 4, give me Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen at UNLV. You know, he's a guy that has been, constantly talked about over the last few years about a guy that could come out of the broadcasting industry to get back into coaching. He hasn't coached since 2021 after Florida fired him. But he went 34-15 at Florida from 2018 to 2021, had back-to-back 10-win seasons in 2018 and 2019, and Mullen has kind of let it be known that he thought he kind of got robbed there. Kind of after the struggles that they've had since 2021, especially with Billy Napier, kind of tweeting like, yeah, I was, y'all maybe have fired me a little bit prematurely, though Florida does seem to be on the rise now, but, that's all in the past. Hopefully it is for Mullen too. He inherits a UNLV program that Barry Odom did a phenomenal job with, had them 1 win away from the college football playoff his last season. If they beat Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game, they are probably going to the 12-team playoff. He's an excellent offensive mind, has done well everywhere he's been. He made Mississippi State a continuous winner. They weren't national title contenders or anything like that, but at one point did have the Bulldogs sitting at number 1 in the country back in 2014. Did well at Florida, has coached some elite talent at some very tough schools at the toughest level in all of football, which is in the SEC. Now inherits a UNLV program that has a dangerous quarterback in Hajj Malik Williams, an underrated defense. He's got to do a little bit better on the recruiting trail, but he's a guy that I think can continue the success in the foundation that Barry Odom laid down. And he's going to be a great guy that UNLV wants as they transition to this new Pac-12 in 2026. So in 2025, he's got an opportunity to still remain an elite contender in the Mountain West. They have a tough schedule opening at Sam Houston State. They play UCLA. They go on the road to Miami, Ohio. They go on the road to Boise. So I would not expect a repeat 11-win season if I'm UNLV, but another solid bowl berth, maybe flirting with a Mountain West Championship appearance, could very well be in the cards. And again, he's a great coach to lead them into the future, into this next phase of their program heading in to 2026. Coming in at number 3, give me another great offensive mind. Scott Frost returning to UCF. And that is a big, big hire by the Knights. Some would say a bit of a risk, maybe a gamble, but I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't go that far with it. Look, this is a guy that knows the culture, he knows the area, and he was kind of like the golden child at UCF, right? I mean, took over a team that I believe went winless before he took over, went 6-7 his first year, then of course, as we all know, in 2017, 13-0 with a Peach Bowl win and the claimed national title by the UCF faithful. But the problem is Frost went just 16-31 during his time at Nebraska. From 2018 to 22, went 16-31 with about 1 million different one-possession losses. Could not figure out how to close the games with the Cornhuskers. If he had, he'd probably still be there right now. But UCF kind of going back a little bit, going back historically and taking a guy that proved he could win there, a guy that the fan base is very happy about, supports quite a bit, gave them the best season in program history, and is still relatively young, only 50 years old. That was a good hire by UCF, and I think it will pan out well. Scott Frost knows how to coach, right? He's proven that. I don't think he's a bad coach by any means. He's got to work on some late game management. He's got to find out a way to close out these games, but he is not a bad coach despite his overall record at Nebraska. The problem is he doesn't inherit the best team, right? UCF, sees Gus Malzahn depart, now the OC at Florida State. They went just 4-8 last year. Started 3-0, that went 1-8 down the stretch. Not a good year. Kind of devoid of some talents. Frost has his work cut out for him. And the other thing you got to keep in mind too is this is not the same UCF level that Frost had back in 2016 and 2017. Back then they were a member of the American Athletic Conference. They're now part of the Big 12. The games are tougher. The conference is tougher. The competition is tougher. So don't expect Scott Frost to come in here and completely change the UCF's culture in day one. Don't expect him to lead them to a 13-0 record like he did in 2017. I think a bowl game is what should be the expectation, you would hope, in 2025, but he can build up this program. And now they are a member of a power conference. He's not going to be looking for that next step, right? Nebraska was a major step forward from a team that was in the American Athletic Conference. Now in the Big 12, he has a great shot to make the college football playoff. You win the conference, you're in. It benefits him in the long run. So I think this is a hire that, if he does well, and I think he will in time, could be there for a very long time. So fantastic job by UCF coming in at number 3. Number 2, might surprise you a little bit, it's Bill Belichick. So no, he is not our number 1 hire. And I think the major reason for that is the fact that he's never coached college football. He has never coached college football. An 8-time Super Bowl champion. And it's interesting to see him at this level. I always thought Bill would be a guy that coached the NFL until he died. He's only 15, 16 wins away from becoming the all-time winningest coach in NFL history. And personally, I'd love to see him get back into the National Football League to break that record. And he very well could. This could be a 1-year stint with North Carolina. But regardless, he is one of, if not the best football coach we have ever seen. At least at the NFL he is. I would say Saban is in college, Belichick was at the NFL. But that transition's hard. Whether you're going from college to NFL or NFL to college, it is a tough transition. It is a completely different game. But the one thing that Belichick has going for his side, not just obviously his football smarts and being a fantastic coach, is I can see North Carolina becoming like Kentucky or Duke or even North Carolina was in basketball, right? With this whole new era of NIL and paying players and the transfer portal right that, he's going to get a lot of players. While North Carolina is not some blue blood program, he's going to get a lot of players coming there knowing that if I play under Bill Belichick, he is going to develop me and he's going to get me to the next level. 1 or 2 years under Belichick is going to be so worth it compared to going to another program because he's going to have me ready to make more millions when I go to the NFL. He knows what it takes. He knows what to do. And keep in mind, he was also, the general manager of the Patriots as well during his time there. He had a complete control over the money, complete control over who they drafted. So he's not just a coach, but he knows how to manage a team. So this was a fantastic big name hire from North Carolina, kind of contradicting themselves a little bit because they said they didn't want an aging Mac Brown anymore. They needed someone younger that was more in touch with the game. And then what did they do? They went out and hired Bill Belichick, who was just a little bit older than Mac Brown, or 1 year younger, regardless, still pretty old. Contradict themselves, but regardless, a much bigger name than Mac Brown, much more accomplished, I would say, than Mac Brown, despite how great he's been. But Belichick does have his work cut out for him. A North Carolina team that went just 6-7 last year, despite starting the season at 3-0. They've got a tough schedule. TCU in the opener on Labor Day Monday. They get to host Clemson. They have to go to Syracuse. Not some easy games there, but overall, the Tar Heels do play 7 teams that finished with a losing record last year, and then they have Richmond on top of that. So 8 very winnable games possibly for the Tar Heels. How quickly they surround Bill Belichick, how quickly it all gels for him will remain to be seen. Again, I don't think this is a college football playoff team by any means, but will be a lot of fun to watch all season long, strictly because of the Belichick factor. So he wasn't number 1. The guy can go out there and win 8 Super Bowls, and he's not number 1. So who is number 1? Who is number 1? And really, it comes down to 2 people, right? It's either Barry Odom from going to Purdue or Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. And that is the answer. Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. That is our number 1 hire. And the guy who could be shaped up for the best success in 2025. This was a fantastic hire by the Mountaineers. Bringing in, kind of like Scott Frost, bringing in their guy, bringing in the guy who led them to so much success in the past. And they're hoping lightning will strike twice again. He was the head coach at West Virginia from 2001 to 2007, went 60-26 in those years, had 4 Big East titles, including an 11-1 season and a Sugar Bowl win back in 2005. And then went to Michigan, didn't play an all-out well, goes to Jacksonville State, and with the Gamecocks, goes 27-10 in 3 seasons and helped lead their transition from the FCS to the FBS. And as soon as they joined the Conference USA at the FBS level, they continued to win. He went 18-8 these last 2 years, won the Conference USA with the Gamecocks in 2024. His culture is outstanding. His offensive knowledge is outstanding. He knows the area. He knows Morgantown. He knows the people. He knows the culture. He knows what it takes to win there. This was a huge, to me, home run hire by West Virginia. And a team that's had talent these last few years. Well, they won, 9 games 2 years ago, went 6 and 7 last year. They've had the talent. They just haven't had the coaching. And Rich Rodriguez, with his offensive style that has worked so well at pretty much everywhere he's been, except for those few years at Michigan, I think it's going to completely transform this West Virginia team and maybe make them a bit of a sleeper in the Big 12 heading into 2025. They've got some tough games, sure, but relatively manageable. They host Pittsburgh, they host Utah, they host Colorado. They do travel to BYU, they do travel to Scott Frost and UCF. They do travel to Arizona State, the reigning Big 12 champions. But this is a team that could surprise, could once again get back to the postseason, could flirt with a 7, 8, some would say 9-win season. We'll touch more on that way down the road. But this was a huge home run hire by the Mountaineers. Rodriguez still has quite a bit of time left. He's, a little over 60 years old, so he's still got quite a bit left in the tank. Love what they did there. I think this could pan out in a big way. And I think in a few years, you maybe could see West Virginia kind of go back to what you saw in the early 2000s. Go back to what you saw in that first stint under Rich Rodriguez. It'll take a little bit of time, but he's going to get the job done because he's pretty much won everywhere he has been. And now returning back to the place where he really, really took off, again, it's going to bode well for both parties. So we left out Barry Odom at Purdue. I still think it's a fantastic hire. I just think he inherits a horrible situation with the Boilermakers, and I do question his ability to go on and win at a Big Ten program. UNLV is great, but the Mountain West is a completely different animal than the Big Ten. He didn't do all that well during his time at Missouri as a head coach, so that's why we left him off of this list for the time being. But I do love Odom, love his style, love his defensive mind. Hopefully he can do well and get Purdue somewhere, but that won't be the case in year one. So Odom, the one Power 4 coach that we left off of this list. The other 22 coaches we'll touch more on well down the road. We'll get a long offseason ahead of us, but we'll touch plenty about them over the coming months. But those were our top 4. Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia, Belichick at North Carolina, Scott Frost at UCF, and Dan Mullen at UNLV. Leave your thoughts and comments below. How good will these coaches do? Are they the right hire? Will they fail? Will it be one-hit wonders? Will Belichick even stick around for a whole season? So much to figure out over these coming months, and we look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to continue to break down this content for you all year round. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our newsletters, home to our expert picks, home to nonstop college football content to help you get through this offseason. So become a member of our GE Nation and take advantage of that today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.